Hi folks, Dave, the Honest Audiophile. This is the Austrian Audio Hi-X60, and these are my honest audiophile impressions. The Austrian Audio Hi-X60 will set you back $429 from your bank account, and they are a mixing monitoring headphone for front of the house and studio use. They have 44mm high excursion dynamic drivers, frequency response of 5 Hz to 28 kHz, and an impedance of 25 ohms and sensitivity of 110 decibels, and they weigh 320 grams. The Austrian Audio Hi-X60, these are very, very well built. They do fold up, and they're extremely light, and the pads and the headband pad is replaceable. You can lay them flat or fold them, and they're very, very comfortable. I find that I can wear them for about 90 minutes to about 2 hours before they really start becoming uncomfortable, and I'll get a little bit of a hot spot up top here and the pads will start getting a little warm. Other than that, they're extremely comfortable. Give them a 5-minute break and we're good to go. Isolation of outside noises extremely well. These are probably somewhere in about the 70-75% of outside noises being blocked, and I find that they do that very well, and that's a good thing for front of the house mixing and monitoring, and also for studio work. You got a metal headband, a little bit of plastic here and there, a little bit of plastic on the cups, but overall very well built. It feels durable, and I have no doubts that these would take a nice daily beating in a studio type of setting. Extremely well built, very nice and comfortable, and they look good with the red accents. A few accessories that you get inside the box. You get a short cable with a locking proprietary termination into the headphone, and then a 3.5. And then you get, and that cable's 4 foot long, and then you get a very long 10-foot cable with the same setup, and you have your screw-on adapter that can be used with either cable. And that's it. That's the only accessories that you get. Nothing spectacular. You do not get a carrying case or carrying bag of any sort. The box is nice looking, but doesn't really include anything inside that's worth noting. Once your cable is locked in place, it stays in place, and it is very, very much firmly connected. You are not going to be able to pull that out. You will pull the headphones off of your head instead. Love the comfort, love the look, love the design of them. Portability is very nice, and no complaints. As far as being able to be driven from gear, it is very easy to drive. These are not picky whatsoever when it comes to sources. If you want to use them on the go with dongles and DAPs, it'll do that. It works best with desktop setups. I found that you get a better improvement in sonics when using a desktop amplifier and DAC. And I found that USB interfaces, something like a Moto M2 or the PreSonus Studio 24C, drives it very well. You can also use these with mixing soundboard consoles. I used it with an Allen & Heath QU24, and it sounded phenomenal and was very, very easy to drive out of the Allen & Heath and worked exceptional. And I found that the Austrian Audio Hi-X60 was the best, and it was definitely at home on the Allen & Heath. And that is definitely where it likes to be used. And I found that it was a very pleasurable usage there. Before we get into the sonic impressions of the Austrian Audio Hi-X60, I would like to thank my supporters through Patreon and YouTube memberships. Thank you very much for all the funds that you provide to the channel. I know that it is tough these times financially in the world, so any sacrifices that you make out of your personal funds is greatly appreciated. So thank you very much for giving back to the channel and for supporting it and helping it to continue to provide reviews and impressions and comparisons, and being able to purchase gear like the Austrian Audio Hi-X60. If you are interested in supporting the Honest Audiophiles channel, please check out the links down below for information on how you can contact us and follow us through Patreon and through YouTube memberships. Okay, so the Austrian Audio Hi-X60, how does this sound? Well, this definitely has a studio reference sound. The bass of the Austrian Audio Hi-X60 is very well controlled and very well detailed, and it has extremely good resolution. Tone and timbre is exceptional, and it is a very natural and neutral sounding bass. It really portrays itself when called upon in the mix, and it stays out of the way when it's not called upon. It does a very good job with extension into the sub bass, giving you just enough texture, rumble and grumble when needed, but not being excessive. It's a very well controlled and very authoritative type of bass. Mid bass is nice and prominent and has good impact and slam without being over dominant and being too much. It just like the sub bass stays where it's supposed to and comes out to play when needed. And then the upper bass is the same. It is not quite as prominent and impactful as the mid bass and sub bass regions, but it is still available and ready at the beck and call of the mix. The mids of the Hi-X60 are impressive. I really like them. They have a nice center focus without being dominant and being forward. They are very much a focal point without being the dominant focal point. They stay in their zone and do what they're supposed to do in the mix. I do wish that they had just a little bit more body weight and a little bit more note density to the vocals and instruments, but overall I really like the tone and timbre of the mids. It's a very natural sounding and it's a very neutral sounding mid. Everything just sounds accurate and true. And then also the mids are very well detailed and resolved just like the bass is, and they stay focused on what they're supposed to do, which is portray things neutrally and naturally and accurately. There's good space in between instruments and vocalists, and everything stays isolated so you can pinpoint each and every little thing going on in the mids. And it has a very nice presentation that is airy and has good envelopment around instruments and vocals. The treble. The treble is nicely extended. You have a good sparkle and energy. It has moments of being a little bit borderline too much, but for the most part, it stays well controlled. It is very detailed and resolving just like the mids and the bass, and the tone and timbre is very good. It has a natural treble to it with a little extra sparkle and energy at times. Overall, I really enjoy the Hi-X60 very much so. It has a very pleasing and pleasant sound that is neutral and natural and very accurate. And it also stays very balanced and cohesive. It has just a little bit of emphasis in the bass and in the treble just to kind of emphasize things a little bit more. It is very clean and clear in its presentation. It has very good space and it envelops everything properly, and it just sounds accurate and true. And it does a good job of allowing you to place things properly on the stage. Soundstage wise, the soundstage of the Austrian Audio Hi-X60 is amazing. This thing is crazy good for a closed back headphone. It has impeccable placement, and imaging is spectacular. You can really hone in. You can be doing your mixing and monitoring and looking down and tweaking things on your board without having to look at the stage. You know exactly where it is, and you can change things up accordingly if you need to adjust on the fly. Also, it does a very good job of being wide for a closeback. It gives you a proper presentation of the stage without being excessive, and it does it in a way that just is very, very detailed. You get a placement, everything is around you and situated exactly as it is in front of you. And then depth is very good. You can really look into the stage and diagnose it accordingly. And then also layering, everything plays properly and on top and below and around each other without crowding it and without overpowering or dominating one or the other. It does a very good job of being accurate and true throughout. Detail retrieval and resolution is spectacular for the price point. One of the best closeback headphones I've heard under $1,000 when it comes to detail and resolution, especially as a studio reference sound. And then as tone and timbre goes, it is very natural and accurate. Only thing I wish is that it had just a little bit more note weight and density to the notes. How does it compare to the Rode NTH100? Now, the Rode NTH100 is a lot cheaper. This comes in at $150. And so the Rode NTH100 is warmer, has more of that note weight and density, and it has just a little bit better tone and timbre. But the X60 does everything else better. It has more detail retrieval, better resolution, and it has a more accurate extension into the sub bass and into the treble, and everything is more wide and spacious and open, and the X60 has just a little bit more clarity. In the soundstage, the X60 is a little bit wider, a little bit deeper, and has slightly better imaging. Even though the Rode NTH100 is very good at $150, the X60 is the more analytical and better detailed and resolving of the two. If you are more focused on tone and timbre, then the NTH100s will do a very good job, especially for monitoring with tracking, and it does a very good job with tone and timbre for instruments and vocalists. But if you're looking for a more detailed and accurate and more analytical presentation of the stage for all that's going on, the X60 is the pick. So I really like the Austrian Audio Hi-X60, and I think it is a fantastic front of the house studio mixing monitoring headphone, and I highly recommend it. Austrian Audio has done a fantastic job, and I can't say enough nice things about it. If you are looking for a front of the house studio mixing and monitoring headphone, take a look at the Austrian Audio Hi-X60. It's been Dave, the Honest Audiophile. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video. Speaking of next video, somewhere on the screen, subscription links, notification bells. If you haven't already, please check those off. Don't forget to give a thumbs up or a thumbs down to the video. Also, check out the links down below. There's all kinds of information down there regarding how you can contact the channel, follow the channel, support the channel. And there's all kinds of information regarding gear recommendations and music that was used in the reviews, and all kinds of other things are listed down below so check out those links. And then don't forget to enjoy the music, and that honesty is the best policy.